What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another day in Car Mechanic Simulator 2021 with me, the Virtual Mechanic. And today's project, this is our Ford Crown Vic, and this is the VM Taxi Edition, ready for the taxi competition, or round 2 of the taxi competition, return of the mods. This is what we're going to be doing to this beast today. We are obviously going to start off by cleaning this little beast right up, sorting out all this bodywork, making it look as shiny as new as we can, putting on a fantastic livery, which I will be showing you, definitely showing you a little bit later on. And then it'll be onto the racetrack to compare this Ford Crown Victoria VM Taxi Edition to all the taxis that came with the Taxi DLC. So it's going to go around the racetrack. It's probably going to be a little bit more powerful than all the other cars, although I have changed the horsepower since the end of the last video. So let's take a look as we jump in. There she is, feeling definitely sorry for herself. This is the Ford Crown Victoria. Wrong screen. VM Taxi Edition. As we can see there are 9 configs for this. Obviously, one of them I've created myself, and it is based on the drift version of the Ford Crown Vic. So if you've got the Ford Crown Vic already and you've got the drift version, it is pretty much, I mean, it's almost the same as the drift version on the bodywork. A few little changes here and there, ride height changes, a couple of little bits like that. Nothing overly special. So it is based on that version, just not with the same engine. The drift version comes with an i6. We've got the V8 Supercharged Miami engine in there, by Multiply through TK Aftermarket. Absolutely fantastic engine. And I have, as I said, brought the horsepower. It was like 2,000 and something because I forgot to adjust it. But I have been in and adjusted it and brought it down to something that's still massively high, but much more reasonable from a Supercharged Miami in a Ford Crown Victoria. So that's what we're going with today. Did I get a good deal for this Crown Vic? No, but not by much, so I'll take it. 14,138 is what we paid, and we could currently sell it for 13,947, losing out on 191 credits before we begin. And as we aren't drag racing, there's no winnings to claim there, and we will be selling this one at the end of the video, as well as finally getting rid of the rest of them taxis that are all back out the front. You'll see them all just a little bit later on. So there we go, the beautiful Ford Crown Vic. It is our show car, so I will need a score out of 10 for you for the show car board, and it is also for the official Red Dot Games Discord server competition that we run, version 2 of this competition here, which was the Law and DLC, and this is Taxi 2 Return of the Mods. No prizes for this one, so it is just what it is. Take part, it's a lot of fun. By the time you see this video, it'll only be time for you to vote, but the next competition will be starting shortly, probably the next day or so. In fact, the next competition will be starting a few hours after this video goes live. I know what day of the week it is. I know where we are. And I know what's really going on, I promise. But there we go. This is what we're doing today. It's competition entry. I need a score out of 10 for you from the show car board. And if you want access to this custom config and livery, obviously once we've finished with this today, the only way you can get that is becoming a member of the VM Garage Club for £2.99 a month. We've got some members. You get access to the Discord, obviously all my custom configs and liveries. And sometimes I ask for help with this build. For example, for the livery and body style on this one, we made a few changes to the front end after I'd finished it, based on what my channel members decided over on Discord. So that's what we're doing today. It is the Ford Crown Vic VM Taxi Edition. Let's get this beast started. Let's get it into the car wash. Let's get it all cleaned up. She's all clean, although she looks absolutely no different than what she did before, if I'm being truly honest. But we know we've got a pipe bit that I forgot to take out earlier, so I'll add 2 pipe bits I forgot to take out earlier. So just letting you know, there is some custom exhaust in this one. I should have probably got them out, but never mind. We know it's got a big engine in there, and it's definitely got a big chunky oil pan with just a tiny bit of clipping. We'll gloss over that. It's all good. Never mind. Let's go and get that all drained out. Over we come, and out you go there. Looking pretty clean, but it is what it is. So let's have a look, and we jump on in on the underside. I want to get right into here. We are missing the drive shaft, but we do have our cheeky little starter. So let's get started with that before we do anything else. There we go. I am going to add the drive shaft to my shopping list just so I don't forget it. And then we're going to take the gearbox out of there. There you go. Out you come, nice and easy. And out you go. Now, we should straight up now just be able to rip that engine out of there. It is a big old boy, but we should be able to. So let's go and grab the engine crane and give it a bash. And then we'll come back and check out what else we've got going on in the engine bay. You'll obviously see a lot of the pipe layout from earlier. But there's the engine out. Let's go quickly throw this rusted block onto the stand and see what sort of condition it is in. Bad is the answer to that question. Although looking complete. Is it complete? Oh, that's not the button I wanted. I just want to play that. It is complete. It's in bad condition, but it is complete. So there we go. We're going to take this apart, strip it down, repair what we can repair, replace what can be replaced with tuning and upgradable parts, make this one as powerful as we can, but we're going to make that engine look a lot better before the end of today's video. So let's get back into the car as we jump into the engine bay, and I'm just going to show you now. Let's have a look. You can see we've got air ducting in there. There's a bonus part here that I can't pull out. I don't know why, it just doesn't want to come out. I think it's to do with the suspension hitbox on this is absolutely massive. I think it's to do with that. But as you can see, full custom pipe work, all done by Barker. The pipe work itself is absolutely fantastic. We did have a little bit of clipping with the block, but that is my fault more than anything else. I pretty much set up the rest of this build. Barker just came in and did the pipes at the end for me because I was running out of time, and I'm so grateful. Thank you so much, Barker. Please give Barker a thank you in the comments below for doing this one for me, along with your score out of 10. But anyway, what else have we got in this engine bay that's missing? Well, the engine bay wise doesn't look like there's much missing here. Obviously, I don't know why the water pump pulley can be put on first, but we'll gloss over that one for the Miami engine. We're missing a lot of the suspension over here. This side looks pretty complete apart from a few rubber bushings. The engine bay is complete, obviously, apart from all of our exhaust stuff up there. If we use their wishy-washy reservoir to jump down the back, this is all looking complete, both sides. Both sides. So the rear stuff is all complete. Obviously, we've got disc brakes. I'm probably going to need to put some ET on these with the bigger brakes if I stick using these rims. I don't know if I'll stick using these rims. They might be a bit too deep dish for this build for me, but there we go. We'll check that one out later on. I can't believe I missed 2 bits of pipe when I was doing this earlier. Can I just take them out now? I can. Out you come. And out you come. We'll gloss over that. So yeah, all of the exhaust needs replacing anyway, because a lot of this has got tunable parts. I'm not sure about this end tip, but we'll find out as we go. But the rest of the back suspension's all there. We're missing a few bits from the front, which I can no longer get up to. We'll use the drive shaft. Thank you very much. We do obviously have all our liquid containers, a coolant, power steering, a wishy-washy, and our brake servo. So we need to get all of them drained out. We all know how to do that. You need to go into normal mode. Then you need to right-click, go to additional tools, drain tool, and then click on hold in whichever container you want to drain the liquid from, and voila, the liquid is drained out. It is fantastic and nice and simple. I'm going to crack on now, get the rest of these liquids drained, get the rest of the engine bay and the suspension all stripped down and ready to go, get what we need to get for this beautiful little beast, repair what we can, which I'll be honest, I don't think is much, and then it'll be time to work on the bodywork for this beautiful car. Did I already get the brake servo? I did already get the brake servo. Then it'll be time to do the bodywork for this beautiful Crown Victoria. And then it'll be time to get it into the paint shop. So you can see the livery I've created for this beast today. It's custom, it's taxi themed, and I hope you're going to enjoy it. That's everything repaired, replaced, or upgraded, ready for our Ford Crown Vic. Obviously, I did say earlier there was one bonus part that I just can't get out for whatever reason. It just will not let me. And I do think it's to do with, I mean, look how high the suspension clipping is. It's still clipping all the way up here where we've got pipes. And obviously this whole thing is pretty much just overtaken by the suspension, as you can see on there. I cannot get to it for the life of me from any angle. It starts going into the pipes and stuff. I've tried it from everywhere, underneath, over the other side, outside on the ground, you know, car lifted all the way up in the air. I just can't get that piece off for whatever reason. So what do I want to do now? I want to go back into standard mode now. But before we go anywhere, I'm going to go buy the bonus parts we do need. Obviously, we need 3 of these in total. We've got 1. So let's go in. I don't want to be there. We want to go to the vehicle add-ons. So what do I need for this build? I've got everything written down. So I need a hood scoop. So I'm going to use my search feature because I have one thanks to Quality of Life. I'm not sure if normal versions come. I don't want roof. I want a hood. So I'm going to go with, is it long or short? I don't think it matters. We'll go with the long and see what that one looks like. What else do we need? Oh, we've got some new wings. Thanks to, I want to say Jackal. I think it's Jackal. I'll double check that. There's a new wing pack on the Steam Workshop, which is fantastic. And this is the wing we're going with today. Bonus wing at number 5. So on you go there. What else do we need? I do need a taxi sign from the Taxi DLC, obviously. And we're going with this one here today. The 1E54. Have included that on the livery. What else do we have? Oh, a couple of curves. So we need to get these. 2 of these. On you go. Both of them. I pressed enter and I've realized I changed my button switches over. We need a high flow filter. So I just put in high. I think we use this one here. So we go for 2 of them. And then obviously it is the boot clamps. If I just type in boot, the ones we need are the second one. This is the short one. Obviously I've already got one. They're 42 each, so I need to add 42 to my budget to include it like we did buy one of these today. So that is all of the bonus parts, I believe. Hood scoop, wing, taxi sign, curved plates, high flow filter, and some boot clamps. It's everything we need for the bonus parts, obviously apart from that one that's already on there, but we will add that to the cost. 42, I need to remember that one. So now let's get in and start stripping this bodywork all down. Out you come with the headlight. Anything else at the front? Windshield? No. Rear, is that a side skirt? That is. Oh, that's obviously the arches as well. Good to know for that, especially when we come to painting later, because I was hoping to do them carbon fibre, so it means I might have to do that whole lower strip carbon fibre. We shall see how that turns out. Oh, tail, trunk light there, and also the trunk piece. Nothing else. There was very little on this car, if we're being truly honest. That should be everything. So let's get in and take the interior out. We've just got the two front seats. That rear bench is part of the frame, which obviously does mean we probably can't change the colour of this. So I'm going to try and match the front seats to that, whichever seats we end up picking. Is that everything apart from obviously that boot clamp, which obviously because that's on, this is why we can't change the version. But I think that should be everything out. That is indeed. Obviously, apart from that boot clamp, annoyingly. Oh, I suppose I haven't tried it now. I've taken all the bodywork off. Let's just give it one more go with the rest of the bodywork off around it. See if I can get it anywhere. It doesn't look like it. Nothing's going to pop up. I'm just waiting to see that tiny little outline, and then I'll know I can just quickly whip it out. Because if I can't whip it out, it means I can't paint them, which is a bit disappointing, but they don't look too bad. So there we go. That is what it is. We can't do anything about that. So let's go in. Frames at 30%. We bought the car for just under 15,000. What do you think today? I'm going to go with, I've been wrong so close, but so far, I'm going to go 950 just because. 500. Way off. But anyway, never mind. Let's jump in back to here. We obviously don't want the body shop at the bonus parts shop. We want the body shop for the Ford Crown Victoria. Now, there is lots of options of this. 5 pages, loads of different front bumpers, loads of different front ends. I think we're using this front end. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But we'll, for everything that's on it at the moment, we'll be going on it. Obviously, definitely wide body on there. I can't remember which interior I picked. Obviously, again, wide body on there. I think we're going for this mirror, so it'll be body coloured, but obviously still with a bit of black on there. I think it's this rear bumper with the diffuser on it. It's got to be that one. I definitely picked one with the diffuser. So it's definitely that one there. I think I just picked a normal window. Just the normal window on there. Obviously, wide body for the rears. And for the trunk, tyre destroyer, because obviously this is going to be a high-powered car. Ooh. I didn't realise there was 2 of these. One that you can paint whatever you want on it. That's cool. That's cool. Should have done that, really, for a taxi sign rather than the one we went for, but never mind. And then, obviously, just a normal windscreen. I didn't go for one of these. I think it was just a normal windscreen because we're not a police car. It could have been windscreen J, though. Oh, no, that's got lights in it. I can see it now. So it's just a standard windscreen. So anyway, yes, this is going to be going back together pretty much exactly as it came apart. I don't think I'm going to change anything of it. So let's go and repair what we can repair, which I do believe is very, very little, and go and buy what we need to buy. If we just go over here and see our repair, 1 headlight, 1 door, 1 trunk light, and the actual trunk itself is what we compare. So I'm going to get on with that, buy what we need to buy, and then we can get this Crown Vic back together. Let's get our little Crown Vic all back together then, including some of the bonus parts. But anyway, let's get started. You know, actually, before we jump into that, I'm going to get started with a couple of the bonus parts in the engine bay. On this side here is where one of our curves go. Yes, they do protrude a little bit further, but I needed them to be this specific size to fit quite well. And while we're here as well, we'll put our taxi sign on the roof because we can. On you go. The rest of these little bits in here will all come later. Obviously, 2 of more are boot clamps and 2 of them are air filters on the end. But we'll crack on with them a little bit later on. For the time being, there we go. We'll get back into normal mode and start putting this body back together. We've got the front fender C's, which are the wide body. I'm hoping, really hoping, that I can get this bit to go carbon fibre. I won't be that disappointed if I can't, but that's the goal. We'll see if it turns out a little bit later on. The front bumper is this one here with the big old lip on it. Again, I'm hoping I can get that carbon fibre later with the rest of this in a body coloured. We've also got a blank front licence plate. On you go. Headlights are just the standard headlights on this one. I think the others might have police lights in or something. Then we've got the front end C, which has got no badge on it, and this greyed out, blacked out grille, which I think looks very, very nice. Plain and simple hood. I did toy with a few other hoods. We went with the carbon fibre one for a bit. Then I went with one with a cutout for a little while. And now we're back to the standard one with, obviously, you've already seen our wonderful hood scoop. So let's just get you on there now because we can. And that will be body coloured or carbon fibre a little bit later on. I'm not sure which I'll prefer, but I do quite like it. Mean and aggressive look, suggested by Barker. Thank you very much for that one. But anyway, let's carry on back around. Windshield, just the standard one because all the other ones had police lights in. Dark grey interior, that's the one we went for. On the door C, on you go. Window in you go, and it is mirror B on there. Body coloured, obviously, it's in that natural black finish at the moment, or greyed. Rear door, just make sure it's dark grey interior again, otherwise I've made a mistake. That was the one I managed to repair though, so that one should have definitely been right. Wide body fenders on there. Rear window is just what it is. The trunk is our tyre destroyer badge. If you're coming down the back here, you can just see that that one says tyre destroyer on it, looking pretty nice. The tail lights are the C's. We went with the very dark ones on there, and then we got the trunk tail lights in the middle, which are nice and bright just because. Black license plate in the middle for the time being, and then that fender, that massive flared rear bumper. Again, I want to try and get these flares to go carbon fibre on here without the rest of the bumper. We'll see if it's possible later, especially as I do have a bit of livery on the rear bumper as well, so that might not be doable, but we'll try. Wide body again on this side, and let's get the rest of this all up to where it should be. On you go, and on you go. One more bonus part for the time being, and that is our lovely little new spoiler. I think this looks fantastic on this build. Quite liking that. That's probably going to try and go carbon fibre along with the hood scoop and the fenders and stuff like that. Well, it depends. If I can't get the other bits to go carbon fibre, we might do something a little bit different. We shall see. My plan was carbon fibre, but whether we end up there is a different story. Let's get in with the interior. The steering wheel, I've gone for the VM steering wheel. Don't worry, that's not on the config I'm going to release to everybody. It does have a normal steering wheel in it. And for the seats, I've gone for the Recaro racing seats. Now, if you have these seats and you want to swap them in, you can. You just can't do so in the car editor because it breaks something, and I don't quite know what. It just doesn't like, something doesn't like it. But there we go. This should be this car 100% back together. 100%, 100%, 100%. That is what we like to see. It is time to get this one into the paint shop, ready for its livery, a fresh coat of paint, and hopefully it's going to look absolutely fantastic. In the paint shop then with our beautiful Ford Crown Vic Taxi Edition, looking, well, sort of like a over-the-top taxi at the moment without the colour scheme. So let's get on and take a look at the factory colours. I'm probably not going to go for any of these. No, I mean, I think they're all just pretty much like for the stock standard car version, although that one might be for a police car. I'm not sure. So we're not going to go for any of them for definite. So let's go into our colour wheel. 40 yellow is what I already wanted. There we go. That's the colour we're going with on our taxi today. Bit dark. It's got a bit of a darkness in the yellow, almost leaning into the orange, but not quite. I think that's the taxi colour, in my opinion. Let me know if you think I'm correct in the comments below. But now let's get on to the livery. Now, there is quite a few liveries with this. I'm not going to go through them all because they're just the standard Crown Vic livery. So the only one I'm going to show you is mine, the VM taxi one. As you can see, we got its code number from its sign, 1E54 up there. It's also on the roof in massive letters as well, and on the rear quarter. And then down the sides, we got our lovely logo with a sort of hash taxi symbol that's normally on there. VM cabs, obviously, and our phone number, 1-800 never late. Obviously that's 1-800-687-5283. It's not a real number. Do not call it. In fact, it might be a real number. Do not call it. I didn't bother to check. I just wanted it to say never late. I didn't check to see if anyone would actually have that as a 1-800 phone number. So please, I'm not advising you to call it. Do not call it, just in case it is a line to somewhere that's actually important. So please do not call that in case it is a real number. It is obviously mirrored on the other side with everything the other way around on there. And then on the back, we got VM cabs and obviously the 1-800 never late on there as well for the phone number. That's the livery. Now, obviously, a few bits of this are going to change. My goal, carbon fibre, carbon fibre, carbon fibre, carbon fibre, carbon fibre, and this bit down here, carbon fiber, if we can get it obviously the same on the other side. And maybe, just maybe, I've just noticed something. Maybe, just maybe, the mirrors might go carbon fiber, as we appear to have a little part of the livery on this mirror, which is one of these from whichever position. So that mirror is clearly somewhere on the car underneath one of them. And on this side, we've got an upside down one of our side logos. And in fact, if I could read the number, I could probably tell you which side it was. But that, obviously, that whole mirror is the whole side of one of the sides of the cars. I'm not sure which. And there's also a little bit on this front end as well. So bear that in mind if you're going to use my config and livery. I will show you how to fix these so that it doesn't come up like that. Obviously, all I'm going to do is take this front end off and paint it separately without the livery, and take the mirrors off and paint them separately without the livery, and then you won't get that bit on there. I think that's the only bits that have gone wrong. I don't remember seeing anything else. That's hilarious. I never noticed that side of the mirror before. I did notice this tiny little piece when I was making the livery, but I didn't notice this or this. So I'm glad I've spotted them now before we got too far along. But yeah, so my goal is to make all of these grey bits around here into a lovely carbon fibre. I'm hoping that will work. It might not. With the quality of life mod, sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. Depends on how the materials were selected when the parts were made by the mod creator. So we shall see. In fact, you know what? Let's just get on with it and have a look now. I forgot to paint the car. What an idiot. Let's actually paint the car first, shall we? So I want to go into here. I want to go back across to there. I am going to keep it in gloss, and we are going to stay on that 40 yellow because it's actually perfect for what I'm after. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use this red for the bolts, and I think I've already got it pre-set up. 0, it should actually be on 1, not 0. So we'll just make sure that is on there. 95 and 95. I think that was the closest I could get that red in a gloss finish, and obviously we are using a gloss base, so it should work pretty well today. So there we go. Let's paint you. Step out of that mode, and I'm going to go down the back once it's finished painting. Go down the back. We'll take that rear bumper off. I'm just going to go around and take them all off. We'll have a look in the paint shop, see what we can do with all of these and whether we can get them to work or not. I forgot to take the mirrors off. I'm going to need to do them anyway, and that front end. So you're going to have to come off as well. So let's sort the front end out first. We go paint part in here, front end, and I just want this piece here. And all I want is that just in that gloss yellow without the livery. I don't think I want anything else on there. It's already got a black grille, so we'll paint you. So we know that piece works. Let's get you back on. That's how you easily sort out that front end with that little bit of livery on there. And do the same for the mirrors. I'm just toying with whether to do carbon fibre on my mirrors or not at the moment. So let's go front bumper, and we want to see if we can get this in the yellow, which it already is, this in the carbon fibre, but we also want my little part of the livery on there as well. So let's go in order. There's the yellow on. We want to go onto a carbon fibre. That's massive. That's massive. That's about right, but will that transfer onto this bottom piece? You can just about see it. Do we want... I can't put the torch on here. That's disappointing. I thought I could. Do we want to go... So I go back one. Oh, that's a bit of a thicker weave, but it's... I didn't realise it was doing the whole back as well. That's a bit of a thicker weave, but is that too thick? What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. But that's what we wanted. The body match yellow, carbon fibre underneath. Doesn't look like it's got a weird texture on it at the moment, but that'll probably change when I throw my livery on. Yeah, you can just about see the little bumpily texture in there now, which is a shame, but that's what I want. So let's get you painted, and we'll see how that looks once it's on the car. On you go. Nice. That did actually come out. That weave may be a little bit too big, so we'll see what we can do with the fenders first. So back into here. I'm just going to try and do one of the That's not a fender. We'll go with just a fender. So we'll go with one of the side fenders. Again, we want body yellow. I am going to need the livery on there and this carbon fibre. So we'll go in here. We used carbon fibre 2. So we'll check this one. See, that's not a bad weave on the fender there. On the flare, should I say. And mixed 1. Massive weave on the inside. It's a good job that's covered, isn't it? So mixed 1 is on that, looking nice. Let's just put the livery on. It does work. Has it gone a bit textured? Yes, it has. I think we're just going to have to live with that because I kind of want this to look like this. This was my original plan. So on you go there, and I'm hoping theoretically we can do the same with these rear fenders. So we'll just try them very quickly. I know it's probably taken longer than you want to watch, but I just want to know. Friender, I'm trying to do it again. I'm trying to make friends with parts of my car. So we want that body match yellow. not behind the wall. Then we want to go carbon fiber 2 we were using and see if this works. Yellow and the weave. And I don't think I need any livery down here, do I? I just double check. Nope, no livery on there. That's absolutely fine. So we'll go back onto none on... No, that's the wrong way around. We'll go back onto none on there. And I just want to reset these to make sure it's not trying to do anything weird. Let's put you on. Hopefully, this is all going to look pretty tight when it's done. On you go there. Just that rear fender to go. And I do think we need to drop that front one down to the lower weave. These two don't look too bad, so we'll leave them. Just a rear bumper to go on there. Oh, wow, I didn't think I was going to reach that. We'll go bumper. There we go. Rear. It is yellow. So we've got yellow and black. Okay. We do need the livery back here. We do that one last. So we go on to carbon fiber 2. I can't remember which we're using. We'll go on to 2 and just have a look. That has got a bit of carbon fiber weave in it, but I obviously don't want that. I can't tell. That looks like it's got a bit of carbon fiber weave in it and it's yellow. That hasn't. That hasn't. That has. But it doesn't look like you can see anything. And that's the bigger carbon fiber, isn't it? I know. That's the biggest carbon fiber. So we look on the inside. Something on the inside will be done. Is that, or is that just mesh? I can't tell. Oh, that was with the carbon fiber weave on it. So this rear fender flare here doesn't... I mean, I think we're just going to have to go with the black and sort of hope. Do we do... I think 1 is what we did on all the others. So I think we'll go with the 1 on there. It's in carbon fiber 1, but it's not making that much of a difference. So I'm going to leave it in carbon fiber 1. And then we'll put our livery on and see if that works. The 1-800 never late. And this doesn't look like it's done the dimple effect. Okay. Different parts for different places. Has it worked? Does it look half decent? Obviously, I know I'm going to be able to get the spoiler to go however I want it. That really doesn't look carbon fiber, but it's dark enough that we can pass it off. Oh, it is a little bit of a weave in there. Too much torch. Just about. In the right angle. See, sometimes it looks grey. Sometimes you get a little bit of that carbon fiber weave on there. But there we go. Right. Didn't mean to go scroll through all of the torches. So I can do what I want. Obviously, I want to change that front bit of a thinner weave on there. We are going to take this bonus part off the top and the bonus spoiler off the back. As I've got everything else kind of how I want it now, I'm going to give the rest of this a go. Hopefully, it'll all work. Then we'll get it back on the lifter, and hopefully, it's going to be looking absolutely incredible. No fender on there at the moment. Just open that up. It's all gone yellow. I don't know if I'm going to keep these yellow. I haven't decided yet. Maybe. We shall see what we do with the rest of the engine. This is probably the longest clip I've ever done in the actual paint booth, so I apologise. I'm going to crack on now, get everything else painted. I just want to show you them little bits. We'll get it back on the lifter and get this beautiful taxi back together, ready to compare itself to the Taxi DLC. There we go. That's everything painted on the VM cabs. VM Taxi Edition Ford Crown Victoria. Looking pretty good. Let's talk about all the little bits. Obviously, you saw me painting all of this. This does have a carbon weave that you can just about see on it there. We did manage to get the fenders, the hood scoop, the mirrors, obviously the rear fenders as well, and that spoiler in a lovely carbon fibre. The rear diffuser is the only one we couldn't get to go, as you may have seen. I can't remember. But it is sort of... It does have a little weave on it here and there, but it's almost impossible to see. Before we move on to the front, we've got our cheeky little battery down at the back. Steel black tray, carbon fibre lid, chrome arms on there. Looking pretty nice. Up to the front for our engine bay. Now in here, starting with the radiator, is in a deep red. Very similar to the red on the doors there. Looking very nice. Obviously our floaty bonus part that I've not been able to get rid of this whole game or whole build. And then inside here, we've got the ABS module in a carbon fibre, the pump in a white. We got our fuse box in a carbon fibre. Hard to see, but it is definitely carbon fibre. Beautiful Haltech ECU on there. Carbon fibre on the brake servo, and then the wishy-washy reservoir, the coolant reservoir, and the power steering reservoir are all just normal because they do sit under this cover, just the caps poking out for filling up. But the rest of it is all hidden away. I like it. I think it looks pretty good. Now let's talk about the suspension. We kept the Brumbo brake calipers in their natural red, looking fantastic. A lot of steel black and white under here. This part here, so everything is all sort of not paint and mix material. I'll just note. Oh, that's all right. The shock was red. I thought I'd accidentally painted the shock red for a minute. Then the paint and mix material sometimes gives it too much of a bright finish, and it looks out of place. So if you look around, everything's sort of got a bit of a natural sort of mess to it. Like you can see the sort of dirt on here. There's a little bit on sort of a few bits. Now the only one I couldn't get to go was the cross member in the white. So Paint version 3, I think it is, gives you this sort of brushed look that almost makes it look sort of like the dirtiness that you get on some of the other pieces. Sometimes I think it suits the build, like this taxi build. If that was bright white, it wouldn't look right. So that sort of dirty off-white, I think, really fits the build quite well. We've got a few splashes of carbon fibre on here, obviously on the shocks, both front and back on there. Springs are in a lovely red, and we've obviously got black on the spring caps. Lovely little black cover on there, and it's all looking pretty good. All the bushings are in a beautiful red. Ignore the fuel tank clipping in there. It is what it is. You can get all the bushings in, stuff like that. It does all fit in and still go together. You just get a little bit of clipping with those upper arms, and you only get these arms anyway if you've got TK aftermarket. So that's all this. If I get back up to the front, I'd like to get back up to the front. There we go. So that's all of the suspension done. The engine bay all finished. Now we need to go and build that supercharged Miami V8. I always close it knowing that I've got to put the engine in there in a minute. So there is no point. But as we go into here, onto the supercharged Miami V8, she's looking pretty good. The block is in steel black and that off-white that we've been using everywhere else, along with the timing cover in that off-white as well. It just fits the build really well. We did go chrome on the headers, massive performance headers on there, so needed to keep some chrome on it. We did go for a bit of yellow on the inside. That is body matched yellow, just for a hint of what's to come. Lots of black on the front here, apart from these idle rollers, which are in just a deep carbon fibre. I think they look quite nice on there. But let's crack on and get some of the rest of it on, starting with our actual head covers, which are in a carbon fibre, same weave that's on the idle rollers. In fact, the idle rollers might have a bit of a thicker weave than what's on these head covers. These are a really nice carbon fibre. It's turned out really well, and I used a lot of dark colours on it, but I changed some of the metalness and roughness of it to give it a nice sort of finish. A finish that I think works for it anyway. On with the ignition coils, a cheeky little hidden bit of that red under there, and then our coil covers on top, which are in black and red. Just a writing in that red that we've got dotted around in a few places. A bit of steel black on there, looking very nice. On we go. Other side, and let's get it all up to the same spot, ready to drop this beautiful Miami engine into our Ford Crown Vic taxi before we see how good it is around the racetrack. But before we get to the racetrack, I will need a score from you guys out of 10 so we can get this beautiful car added to the show car board. So do let me know in the comments below. Let's crack on though. Exhaust manifold, on you go. Again, in that sort of dirty off-white, which I've been really loving on this build. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. Carrying around and get the other side done on there, and then we'll get that big old supercharger slammed on the top, ready to go. This thing is wild. Look at the size of it. Supercharger HTV 1900 for the V8 Miami. We'll slap that one on. That is in steel black and chrome. I did try and do this in the off-white, but this piece here, everything on it was so clean. It was just a very vibrant, bright white, and it just didn't fit the rest of how the build looked. So I opted not to do that one. So anyway, let's get our supercharged belts on. This one, and they're all in a red. I've never done red belts before, and I think it looks quite good with the writing in red and just a slightly deeper red underneath it. I'm quite pleased with how it turned out. On with the other belt on there, and obviously our cheeky little belt tensioner just in a steel black. And that's all of that done. Round to the back, we got our supercharger throttle body in just a steel black on there. Really struggling with the English language. I should be better. Throttle body in a steel black and a bit of that off-white again, just because we've got some pipes coming off of that in a bit. And then to finish this engine off, we've got our performance red and a steel black fuel rails, looking absolutely beautiful. On you go, and on you go there. And that is the supercharged V8 Miami all finished. Let's get it dropped into our Crown Vic and see what it looks like inside the engine bay. Hopefully pretty good. Now normally I do color matching, so we'd have some yellows on here. We have got a bit of yellow inside the heads, but nothing on the outside of this engine today. It's probably not a first, let's be honest. I've got nearly 400 builds in Car Mechanic Simulator. It's probably not a first, but I don't remember doing it very often. So we'll slap this engine in there with no body match colour on it. What, I suppose, does the carbon fibre count? Does it count? I mean, I guess it does, really. So there is a little bit. There we go. Anyway, oh, one more thing I did forget to mention earlier is when I was painting this fender, getting this carbon fibre on here and the body matched along with the livery, we can see there's a little bit of that sort of dimpling effect that shows up in there that isn't on this panel because it doesn't have a force bit. But as you can see, there is no, I'm going to try and get it, there's no little lip around that headlight there. On the other side, for some reason, it's hard to see, but can you see it? There is a carbon fiber lip that runs around the edge of that headlight. I have no idea why, where it come from, and they're not the same on either side. Obviously, one's left, one's right. This one doesn't have it. This one does have it. So bear that in mind if you're going to try and force paint the arches a different colour. On the Crown Vic, one of the headlight trims will colour whatever your option colour is. I tried a few different settings to try and get it to work, but it is what it is. Let's crack on, though. Let's get some pipes in for this engine bay so we can finally get those bonus parts all finished off. All piped in by a multiply. It's not piped in by Multiply at all. It's piped in by Barker. Thank you very much, Barker. I've mentioned that before. Thank you, Barker. Absolutely fantastic job of all the part work. I'm very impressed with how it turned out. We'll get on with the exhaust in just a moment. But now let's get on and get some of these extra bonus parts in here so we get this bit all finished off. We've got the small boot clamp at the back there, along with a small boot clamp at the front on this side that I couldn't get out, and another small boot clamp just there. And then the high... Jumpy. Then... the high flow filters on the end of the pipes there. In you go, just in a steel black and red. I think that looks really nice. Obviously, the off-white on the pipes with the medium torch looks absolutely fantastic. Full torch, I don't know what's going on there. And no torch, it looks a bit dull, but I kind of like that. It should look a little bit dull. There we go. That's the engine sort of done. Let's go back into normal mode. Get it up in the air. Get the gearbox in, drive shaft, and finish this exhaust off. The exhaust, again, thanks to Barker. Absolutely fantastic job on there. But let's get on. Gearbox in you go. Steel black with a tiny splash of white. Just there, as you can imagine. Obviously, our red bolts all looking fantastic. And a white starter on there. For the drive shaft, we took the carbon fibre drive shaft. We painted it carbon fibre. Because I think the carbon fibre that comes on it's got a little bit of blue in it. And it doesn't look right, in my opinion. So I don't use that anyway. I always paint it some sort of a colour. But this time we actually just went with a carbon fibre, which is weird. So let's carry on with all of our pipes running around the outside, all the way down the edge. It does look fantastic. It does sort of ever so slightly clip with these trailing arms a little bit, but you can get away with it. It looks so good under there anyway. Pipe straight at the back, and then the A.K.A. muffler at the end, which I have taken all of the chrome off and left it in that dirty white that we've used everywhere else. Let's keep going around. These exhaust tips are massive, but once we get to the rear end in a second, hopefully you'll think it looks just as fantastic as I do. So let's crack on. Rest of this pipe work all done. One more piece to go in there, and that should be all of it apart from the wheels, which we will do in just a second. But before we do that, let's just take a quick walk out from underneath. Ignore the clipping of the oil pan. Very dark through the middle. The exhaust sort of disappears into the body, but it is what it is. And then the massive tips sticking out the back, which don't look great from underneath, but when you look at it from the back, they look absolutely fantastic. I'm absolutely well impressed with that. Excellent work, Barker. Let's crack on. What else have we got to do? Wheels. I've already done them, so let's get them on. Starting with our front wheels. We did go for the Rim 22A. I have already tested, fitted them, and swapped them out and all of that. I need to get rid of the old ones. I'll do that one in a minute. For the fronts, it is this one here. So it's an 18-inch rim with a 225 width and a 35 profile on there, and no ET because I've brought them all out inside the config, or the drift config already brought them all out. I've done them in a cheeky little black and white. This is why I use the A ones, because the A one's got a pre-black set bit round here. And I used the steel black. The steel black's on the inside. We've got the normal black bit around this bit's here, which is where you see the shiny on it, and then a matte white around the outside, and it did also paint the bolts black, which I think really finishes this one off. It does look better when you're not looking just at the wheels. Trust me. The rear wheels are a 18-inch rim again, but 275 width, so just wider at the back, still with a 35 profile on there. On you go. All painted up, all finished off, all bolted together. Let's get this car done, ready to go outside in the sun before we put it on the dyno and take it for a run around the track to see if it can beat the standard taxis from the Taxi DLC. Last wheel, on you go. And then we'll get this one drop back down. And hopefully you'll think it looks just as good as I do. I do want to put the hood down just to complete the look on the stand. There she is. She's a wide boy. The wheels look fantastic. I do like the black and white in there. No other white on the outside of the car. So it sort of gives it a bit of uniqueness. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do give this one a score out of 10 so we can get added to our wonderful show car board just up there. Where will it come? I mean, we've got some pretty high scores on here, if we're being truly honest. Everything is above a 9.68. So it's going to be quite hard to even get it into the top 10, let alone into our wonderful top 3 up there. Bit of a challenge, but can we do it? Will you guys vote it to be that way? Let me know in the comments below. I'm going to top up the liquids. We'll get this car outside in the sun, and then we'll get it on its dyno run. That's everything finished for our beautiful Ford Crown Victoria VM Taxi Edition for VM Cabs Company. Looking beautiful, but one thing we got left to do is swap our license plates out. Can you guess what I've gone for today? There is a clue. It's already on the car. It's never late. NVR L8. Absolutely fantastic. I could actually imagine, like, the town's richest Uber driver having that as their plate. Somewhere in America, that is, anyway. With private plates aren't so much of a big thing over here. But I can imagine someone having never late as their taxi or public transportation vehicle license plate. Especially that one guy who's, you know, a billionaire and drives an Uber for fun. Make money on the weekends, that kind of thing. I can imagine that person having that plate on there. But that's what we've gone for our beautiful Ford Crown Vic taxi today. It is all 100% finished. Absolutely fantastic. Something was a little bit jumpy then, and I don't know what it was. I'm not sure why that was happening. I thought I'd got rid of all the jumps in my game, but never mind. That's twice today. We'll crack on, and let's jump inside our beautiful Crown Vic. I do like these seats. I do like the sort of two-tone grey and white on there, and I do think it is quite a close match to the white, I did inverted commas with my fingers, that you've got on in the back there. It is looking pretty good. And obviously our beautiful virtual mechanic steering wheels, always fantastic, whatever we do to them. So let's get it started and see what it sounds like. I do need to align the wheels, so we'll get that done in a moment. Pretty grumbly. It is the Miami V8. We have heard it before, so let's give it some gas. Or acceleration, should I say, if you're from the UK. Let's give it some acceleration. Does it actually count as acceleration if you're not moving anywhere? Let's rev it up. We'll go with that. Still sounding pretty mean at the top end, even if it did take me 3 attempts to get there with the words. Sounding pretty cool. Let's get this beast onto the dyno, see what its horsepower is, what its drag rating will be, and I do love that hood scoop sticking out the centre there. On the dyno then with our Ford Crown Victoria VM Taxi Edition and its supercharged Miami engine. 762 horsepower from stock, which ironically is already double more than any of the other taxis we did tuned. So we'll see. We got 838 horsepower gained on this Miami V8, 110% power increase, loving that one, and 1,599 total horsepower. I think this might be a bit of a nightmare around the track. A drag rating of A939. This should definitely be a drag race car, not a track car. It may be a little bit too powerful. We will find out in just a moment. This beautiful looking taxi. Don't forget to give it a score out of 10 in the comments below. Let's crack on though. Let's have a look at the gearbox tune. Now, that's what I've gone for today. I have fiddled with it quite a bit. Everything's not where it should have been to start with. Along there, along here, up here, everywhere. Everything is sort of in the same sort of curve, but in slightly different positions. I feel like this was the best I could get out of it on the track in comparison to being able to slow down enough for corners and things like that. As a mix, it's not the fastest, it's definitely not the slowest. It's sort of somewhere in the middle. It's relatively controllable. We shall see in a little while. It obviously has a fully tuned stage 3 ECU on here, giving us 16% additional tuning. And if you want to see how to easily do that every time, there is a link in the top right hand corner up here. It's also linked in the description below, along with a link to the carburetor tuning every time if you want to see how to do that one. Both short videos, less than 60 seconds, worth checking out if you are struggling at all with either of the ECU or the carburetor tuning. I promise you it will make life a little bit easier for you. But anyway, enough of that. Let's get the beautiful Ford Crown Vic onto the track and see if it really is faster than all the other taxis. Here we are then on the racetrack with our beautiful Ford Crown Vic and its VM Cabs livery, looking fantastic in that black and red. I absolutely love it, but that is a bit personal preference. What do you think? Do let me know in the comments below, along with a score out of 10, so we can add this one to the show car board. But right now, the show car board isn't what we're interested in. We're interested in the taxi speeder board, because we want to see if this Ford Crown Vic can beat any of the taxis from the taxi DLC around the track, which is currently led by the Liner Navigator with a 131 131.613. Can we beat it with our beautiful Crown Vic? There is only one way to find out. Let's go. We're going to do a standing lap and a flying lap. You'll see all of the flying lap regardless of what happens, and some of the standing lap depending on if it's funny or good or not. There we go. But a little bit of power off for that first corner, braking for the second corner. This very rarely happens, and I haven't even pit down at full power in this taxi yet, and it's spinning its tyres at 150 kilometers an hour. That is wild as we go up into third gear and we nearly lose control again. This is hard to drive. Coming up towards the big bank right hand turn, definitely some power shaved. I'm going to do some squiggling to shave a bit more power, and then just try and feather this throttle and accelerator around the corner. That was pretty good. Quite happy with that one. We're normally at about 116 at this point, so this is very, very quick, but we've still got to get through the S's yet, and this is only the standing lap. We've still got the flying lap to go. Plenty of braking through that section because I do not want to meet Barrier. Me and him are not friends, especially not in this squirmy, slidey, very hard to drive car. And I've just managed almost, I won't say a perfect lap. 131 at 5.66 for the stand-in. Can we beat it with the flying lap? If we do, it will pit this one at the top of the taxi speederboard, beating all of the taxis from the taxi DLC, but it has got a supercharged Miami V8 in it and is heavily tuned and custom built by myself and Barker, so it's a little bit of an unfair advantage, but it is incredibly hard to drive, so that is its kind of downside. Oh god, I didn't think I was braked enough there. Luckily, we had a bit of tail whip to get us around that corner. Sometimes it works in your favour, sometimes it does not. Gentle on the accelerator around that corner, and barely even on the accelerator around that corner, but back now down onto full power as we come towards the big right-hander. I don't want to crash. I don't want to crash. I do not want to crash. Oh my god, no, we're good. We're good. We're good. We got around that corner. Might have been in first gear, but we got around it and we're still alive. Let's go. Big bank left. Shave some speed. Not as much as the other corners. Just gently let this one coast around and then back on the power on the exit. I'm going to drop it down a gear for this straight here. Less than 110 in this section. This should be quick as long as I can not crash. Don't crash. Do not crash for this final S section. Keep pulling it around. Gentle on the accelerator. Not too hard. Don't let it whip too much, especially on this final corner. This final corner has messed me up so many times. It is unbelievable. Back on the power for the home straight and across the line in a 1:28.917, crashing our taxi right at the end, meeting Barrier, and look what that has done. So there's a new thing coming, or is already out with the quality of life mod, where you can crash on the track and it does damage. I've never seen it done anything like that before. That looks a bit weird, and it never normally jolts or crashes, and it looked like it was jolting a little bit as I hit the barrier there. Plus that's my bonus part, clamps that should be inside the car, not out to the left. But there we go. We finished the race. I'm going to view it from this side, so it looks like there's nothing wrong. In a 1:28.917, pitting this Ford Crown Victoria top of the taxi speederboard. Happy to hear it. Let's get it back to the garage, see if we can sell this one for a profit and add it to the taxi speederboard. Well, that certainly made some changes to the taxi speederboard. Let's quickly run through it. In 7th place, or last place, is the Olsen Prami Club D140 drag rating, 183 horsepower, 141.811. In 6th place is the Cab Roma D172 on its drag rating and 288 horsepower, 140.771. Next up is the Sakura with a D189 drag rating and 286 horsepower at 139.326. Then we've got the Bolt Escapade, which is the sort of rival to the Ford Crown Vic, if we're being truly honest. A C240 drag rating, 410 horsepower and a 135.469. In 3rd place is the French taxi, the crazy one, the Le Croix Marseille, with a B310 drag rating, 375 horsepower and a 135.401. In 2nd place now is that beautiful Liner Navigator with an with a B350 drag rating, 530 horsepower and a 131.613. And now the new top spot is our VM taxi Ford Crown Victoria with a drag rating of A939, so just miles above the rest, 1,599 horsepower, also miles above the rest, but only a 1:28.917, so only about 3 seconds quicker than the second fastest taxi, and it had more than triple the horsepower. Just a little bit wild, but there we go. Let's talk some facts and figures about our beautiful Ford Crown Vic. We bought the car for $14,138 and could have sold it and lost out at 191, but we didn't do that. We spent $22,438 on the engine bay and the suspension, the exhaust, and things like that. For the engine and the liquids, gearbox and starter was $24,514. For the beautiful bodywork, the interior and the frame, not including the bonus parts, was $10,834. Those beautiful white and black wheels and tyres were $8,498. Our never late private plates was $1,700 as per usual, and the paint and finishing on this one was $21,724. But we can't forget the bonus parts. Obviously, there was that one bonus part we couldn't buy for 42 credits. The rest of them cost $1,868, plus that to the 42 is $1,910, putting the total spend for the Ford Crown Vic VM Taxi Edition at $105,756. Just a little bit of money for a restored taxi. I mean, it might be a wild restored taxi, but it's still a restored taxi nonetheless. Is there some money to be made? Let's get off the B-roll and let's get back to this beautiful Ford Crown Vic. There she is, and there's the rest of the taxis in all of their order across the back there. Obviously, this one would be there next to the liner, indicating last to first. But we're not going to do that because we are going to sell all of these now, and I am now going to sell all the rest of these taxis, and we will crack on with other things. But can we make some money from our Crown Vic? There she is, all 100% finished. That engine tuned from 762 to 1,599 horsepower, 110% power increase according to the dyno screen. But we spent 105,756 to get here. Is there some profit? With a sale of 127,064, there is some profit. 21,308, to be honest. Obviously, this taxi here, we aren't going to sell. This is one of our show car builds. This one will stick around in the garage somewhere, probably in the car parking, out the back. You know what I'm talking about, the one that you can't see. Obviously, because it can't go out there, because that's for my top 5. But there we go. This is the beautiful Ford Crown Vic. I've enjoyed this one a lot today. It's been a lot of fun. It was very hard to drive, I'm not going to lie. The last two laps, obviously the last 2 laps, I wasn't going to do any more laps after I'd finished recording, but the last 2 laps you saw was the only time I completed a single lap, let alone 2 laps, without crashing. And obviously I did crash after the finish line, but we're not counting that because I just slammed on the handbrake and spun it round. So of course it was going to crash. But there we go. That's the Crown Vic. Absolutely beautiful car. I've definitely well and truly enjoyed this one. It was a lot of fun. Thank you again to Barker for helping me with the pipe customization in this one. I just ran out of time. Barker, you're an absolute legend for doing it for me. I very much appreciate it. But let's see what we've got coming up in the next episode. You can see it on the trailer, but I wonder how many of you know what it is. Shall I not go in and let you guess in the comments what we're going to be working on next time? Do you know what this car is? I'm only joking. I'm not going to do that. This is the Dodge Charger concept from 1999, available on the Steam Workshop and available in-game from the auction, the salon, the barn, and the junkyard. We got ours from the auction house, the bad auction house, and it's in pretty poor condition. We'll do the costs in the next episode, but the engine is a V8 6.2 litre Hemi Hellcat, 606 factory horsepower. Where do you want to see this one? It's not going to be the gravel track, but do you want to see it on the racetrack or do you want to see it on the drag strip? Let me know in the comments below. I'm looking forward to a Dodge Charger concept. I do love a Dodge Charger. So do join us back here on Monday for this beautiful Dodge Charger concept. I'm looking forward to it because I've actually got no idea. I think I've seen the car before, but I've got no idea. I've got nothing about it. No information. I haven't looked yet. I'll probably do a little bit of looking. It's blue at the moment as well. I didn't realise that. But there we go. What do you think of our beautiful Ford Crown Vic? Do let me know in the comments below with the score out of 10. And if you want access to the custom config and livery, config by me and Barker, livery by myself, hit that join button below and become a member of the VM Garage Club, because I share all my custom configs and liveries with my channel members because you're all absolute legends. Yeah, £2.99 a month. You get access to the Discord where we can have a chat, have a laugh. I show builds in there, ask for some help designing sometimes, things like that. And obviously that's where I post all my custom configs and liveries for you to enjoy. You get 1 day early access to all the videos and early sneak previews of all my builds anyway. So it might be worth it. And if it is, hit that join button below, become a channel member like these absolute legends on screen. Hope you're enjoying the config, and let me know what you think of the taxi if you ever build it. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a beautiful day, whatever it is you're getting up to. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.
Like and subscribe for Virtual Mechanic.